Greetings, brothers and sisters. Hello and welcome back to Eva's House of Spirit. It has been a while. I have been away. A lot has been going on. To be honest, I haven't had a lot of motivation to post or to do other things that I should probably be doing right now. So anyway, this video, I thought I would just come on, give you some updates, and then at the end give you like something magical. So it's not just a video about me blabbing on about things that don't, give you any sort of return, so to speak. So yeah, I'll be wrapping this up with something for you, a magical tip. First of all, I did want to talk about a new Facebook page that I created for Eva's House of Spirit. Some of you might be like, well, you've got a YouTube channel, you've got a group, what's the point of having a page? I decided that rather than putting updates or information regarding this channel or the group into the group, because that kind of like takes up a lot of the feed in the group, or it could potentially, I thought it would make more sense to kind of have a separate place for updates and info and like kind of that kind of stuff. So I decided to make a page by the same name, Eva's House of Spirit. I do encourage you to go there and like the page and, follow along there as well, whether you are or are not in the group that I have, because, I try to, as much as possible, post up any little tidbits or inspiring things that are just kind of like little extras there in the group. And I'm going to have a link, in the page, I'm sorry. And I'm going to have a link to the new page down below if you care to check it out and hopefully like it. That said, on less positive news, I have recently lost my job. I don't know if I will be getting unemployment or not. It's kind of like a toss-up. I'm still in the process of seeing if I am eligible or not. But for those of you who wish to help in some way, prayers, positive thoughts, or even prosperity work, if you'd like to do any on my behalf, any of that, those are always welcome. Another simple thing you can do that doesn't cost you anything is when you watch my videos, I encourage you, please, let the ads run, because that doesn't cost you anything, but it does help to increase my earnings on YouTube. Not that they're much. I just recently checked my Google AdSense. I'm like at $4 or something right now, because a few months ago, I think it was, I want to say maybe, might have been in May or maybe before May, I actually got my first $100 check after being on YouTube for like over maybe, I want to say maybe a year and a half or something, maybe a little less than a year and a half I've been on YouTube, and I finally got a $100 check. It takes a while for that to accrue, but it does help. So if any of you want to help me out, or any other content creators here on YouTube, let the ads run. It doesn't cost you a thing. You can always use that time when the ads are running, grab yourself a drink, some popcorn, whatever you want to do, but let the ads run. It really does help content creators. I know that ads are annoying, but knowing that that's a charitable act that doesn't reach into your pocket, maybe that, knowing that, at least you can feel that, well, it may be annoying, but at least it's something you can do, So that said, also, I recently posted an update here. I went to my discussion where I post on my channel, where I post my updates from time to time. I did mention that my computer was recently also busted. It broke like just after I lost my job. That was not at all a cheap fix, because my computer has been out of warranty for some time. So out of pocket, it was like $310 plus taxes. So I forget exactly what it came out to, but I think it was like maybe $337 or something like that. It was really not something that I needed at the time. But you know what? I needed my computer. I had to pay it, so I had to reach deep down in my pockets, scrape some money together, and get the computer fixed. Otherwise, I couldn't be here. I couldn't be making this video or any other videos. Now, on to magical topics. Recently, I've become aware of a book in the collection of Dead Sea Scrolls that has kind of piqued my interest. I kind of stumbled upon a video here on YouTube about the Book of Giants, and that really, really piqued my interest. The story of the Nephilim is mentioned elsewhere in the Bible, in the, I guess, cut that kind of made it out into the public, But the Book of Giants elaborates upon the mentions that have been made about the Nephilim and how, the fallen angels, how they mated with women and created the Nephilim and all that. There's actually elaboration in this book, and it's interesting because other things are mentioned too. Like, I never knew until I heard mention of it in regard to the Book of Giants that supposedly the angels didn't just mate with women, they also mated with animals, and they created these beings that were referred to as monsters. So that kind of had my little hamster wheel turning a little bit. I'm going to be looking around online, and I'm going to see if I can find myself a copy of the Book of Giants to actually read. I think there are versions out there. Do keep in mind, though, that the scroll itself was not complete. There were parts that were damaged. So the Book of Giants, what translations might be out there, what transcripts might be out there, are going to have gaps in them because the scroll was deteriorated. There are parts that they just couldn't piece together because there was only so much of the scroll left. Also, another thing that I have been doing lately, I have been experimenting with wax seals. I've created a wax seal. I'm practicing with it. It's actually, I thought it would be really easy to just drip the wax, press the seal. It's not that easy. There's actually a little bit of a technique to it. I'm kind of developing my skill with that, and I'm going to be experimenting in regard to what role wax seals might play in magical work, and I'm not going to promise anything, but I'm going to try, maybe, in the future, to make a video in that regard, but again, no promises. I don't want to guarantee I'm definitely going to put one up because, yeah, I'm just not ready to do that at this time, and I don't want to promise. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what the future brings? But it's something that I have been considering. Also, I have recently come to realize some further potential in a traditional blend called 5-circle that is often used, for example, in hoodoo and other magical circles or paths. 5-circle can come in incense, oils, powders, etc. That's the blend name 5-circle. Often it's used for psychic enhancement. It's a good blend to use when you're doing any kind of psychic work, channeling, things like that. But recently, by accident, I stumbled upon the discovery that 5-circle can be used for other things as well. It can, I have found, hone and enhance the power of your own will toward manifestation. I have some 5-circle incense that I picked up back in October of last year during a trip to Toronto. I got it from the Occult Shop in Toronto. Great shop. If you're ever in Toronto, go check out the Occult Shop. Great place. But anyway, yeah, so I have some 5-circle incense, and I was crushing it up and using it as a powder. I was dusting it on myself, and I was also sprinkling it, over various things I was working on, and, things like that. Blah, blah, blah. No need to really go into details, but I discovered that there were things that I wanted that suddenly manifested unexpectedly. I was on a trip in Pennsylvania, and I wanted to find and bring home some honeysuckle vines because I don't have any growing in my area, unfortunately. And I was looking and looking and looking and couldn't find any honeysuckle vines. And I was also looking for rue, and I couldn't find any rue, obviously. But then I started using the 5-circle powder. And suddenly, my friend and I, we were talking about honeysuckle. I was asking him, my friend who lives locally, I was asking him, do you know of any places where honeysuckle grows? Oddly enough, after that conversation, and after I had used the 5-circle powder prior to that conversation, honeysuckle appeared. We were driving around, we stopped somewhere, and there was a whole slew of honeysuckle. And I was like, wow, that's convenient. And then later, we were walking around his property. And strangely enough, there was honeysuckle growing on the edge of the property too. And he had never known about it, even though he's been living there for years. As for the rue, I was somewhere else with my friend. And by the side of the building where we were, there were these plant pots with some wilting herbs, but they still had life in them. And I asked the people that owned the building, I was like, hey, what's that? Can I have those wilting plants, And they were like, oh, those are dead. Go ahead, take them, whatever. So I took them, nursed them back to health. Conveniently enough, in the pots of wilting herbs, there were like 6 or 7 rue plants, some oregano, some chives. So I got my rue, just like I got my honeysuckle. And I do believe that the 5-circle powder that I created from crushing down the 5-circle incense had something to do with that. It really did open up my will, and open up and enhance and empower my will. And it just kind of, it was weird. It like aided in manifestation, so I thought that was pretty neat. So if you happen to have 5-circle oil, incense, anything like that, I do recommend that you experiment with it in other ways aside from psychic enhancement. It does have other powers, I have found, and I think you will find the same. Okay, before I go into your magical tip that I promised you at the beginning of this video, I do want to say you could expect that I'm going to be putting up a whole slew of videos fairly soon. I have a list of videos that I want to make, some specific things I have in mind. So this isn't going to be like a video posted and then 2 weeks go by and you don't see anything. I do plan on posting more, especially being that I'm unemployed right now. I mean, I kind of have some more time, so it's probably going to be a lot more feasible for me to have videos up a little more regularly from this point forward. And that said, that aside, updates given, now I want to talk to you about the magical tip that I said I would be sharing. Now, sometimes you may find yourself in situations like I'm finding myself in now where, magical supplies, hey, they cost money, and you may not have a lot of money to spare because you really got to watch what you're spending if nothing really or not much is coming in. So I like to work a lot with Florida water. But again, to constantly be buying Florida water can be a little expensive. I have some Florida water currently here at home from previous purchases, and I kind of seek to save that good stuff for when I really, really, really need it. But I have come up with a less expensive alternative to Florida water that is just as effective but costs far less. The base for this is wintergreen alcohol, and I made it up in a bottle that I had that only had a little bit of Florida water left in it. What I did is I poured wintergreen alcohol the rest of the way in the bottle with that little bit of Florida water still in the bottle. And then I proceeded to add a little bit of orange essential oil. And then I added some herbs for cleansing. And there are many different herbs that you can use. And if you don't have orange oil, you can alternately substitute maybe lemon oil or lime oil or maybe lemongrass oil. I prefer essential though, not fragrance, because the essential oils, I just happen to like them. If you happen to have essential oils, you know, that may be a little more effective. And besides, essential oils are actual extracts from the plant rather than just being potentially a synthetic fragrance that may not necessarily hold the same potency. But then again, even the scent of something, psychological triggers, folks, as long as you are triggered into the right headspace, something, if you only have fragrance oil, I guess it's not going to be a complete crime if you use that, because as long as it triggers you to be able to willfully manifest the ends that you're seeking, you can further empower this pseudo Florida water with your will as well. But yes, I prefer essential oil. So, again, to recap, a little bit of Florida water is left in the bottle. Fill it up the rest of the way with wintergreen alcohol. Put in some cleansing herbs. Maybe add some essential orange, lemon, or lemongrass oil. And for cleansing herbs, you can use any number of herbs. Traditionally, in Florida water, there's usually there's various ingredients depending whose recipe you're going on. Florida water, often the recipes will include things like bergamot, lemon, lavender, cloves, cinnamon, neroli, jasmine, rose, musk, perhaps ylang-ylang. But you don't need to necessarily use all of those. You can use whatever combination you happen to have that feels right to you. And, maybe consider the ingredients in your Florida water blend. If you're like me, you may prefer odd numbers. So you may want to choose an odd number of ingredients, maybe from among that list. But you can also add things such as rue, sage, pine, rosemary, yerba santa, citrus peels, lemongrass, etc. Make the recipe your own. I do suggest going online, researching other people's recipes, and kind of tailoring and experimenting and creating a blend of your own that works for you based on what you have available to you. But yeah, this is what I'm going to be using more often, and I'm going to be saving my pure, actual, Florida water that, I bought as was, for kind of special works or more important works. This is just as effective, but I will be using this more often because this is less expensive. To buy a bottle of wintergreen alcohol at Walmart is like 88 cents. I already had the essential oil that I added. I already had the herbs on hand. I already had this bottle of Florida water with a little bit left in it. So I didn't really have to go out and spend a lot of money. And when this gets low, I can just pour in more wintergreen alcohol, maybe refresh it with some more essential oil. So I hope that's a useful tip for you. And I hope that this video has kind of shed some light on what sort of has been going on with me, why I haven't been around. I've got a lot on my plate, but today I thought about it and I was like, I think it's time that I really come back and really get back into the YouTube game, because it's been too long. Despite the fact that I've been going through some hardships, it's time. So anyway, I'm going to wish you all blessed be in Ashe. You can expect to see some more videos up soon, and I hope you all have a great day. And until our next exchange, until next time, you stay awesome, keep your mind open, and bye-bye for now.